What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Tori Amos, and we're going back to her 1994 album, Under the Pink. Shout out to a very sleepy Luca. And yeah, ultimately, shout out to all the Tori folks. I do appreciate the patience. I'm just going through so many deep dives. I do try to get around to everything as quickly as possible, or with as much balance as possible. In any case, the next tune on the album is God, and it's a single word title, and titles tend to be capitalized, at least most nouns and verbs and so on in titles, but in that configuration, it speaks to, at least in English speaking circles, a reference to a sort of overarching meaning, like multi-faith understanding of omnipotent, omniscient, and omnibenevolent deity. What's up, folks? I'm back with another Tori Amos reaction. I had a slight blooper at the start, in part because of this little ragamuffin, so I figured I'd just start the next video, or the next take, this way. So yeah, we're back with Under the Pink, 1994. Once again, shout out to Nigel. And the next tune we're going to listen to is God. Now, it's a single word title, and titles tend to be capitalized, nouns and verbs in titles certainly. So in that regard, there's a bit of ambiguity to it, but in most English-speaking circles, if you use the capital G proper name God, you're referring to a sort of multi-faith understanding of a classical theistic conception. For many people, the Abrahamic God specifically. Either way, it does make me wonder whether we're going to deal with Tori's own religio-cultural upbringing, or even psychology and thoughts and expression. I should mention, as an adult, I'm a secular guy, but as long as people of any religious faith do not engage in violence, hate-mongering, or censorship on account of their views, then I'll do whatever I can legally, politically, socially, culturally, etc. to ensure their free and continued practice. All I ask for in return is the same live and let live mentality, though I'd happily go beyond that to a more notable communion. But either way, the point is that I was raised in a Catholic family, and ultimately, went through all the youth sacraments and so on. I was confirmed when I was in Catholic high school, whereas I'd gone to public schools before that. Now, none of that was the classic fire and brimstone type of Catholic upbringing that some people have. It was a much more philosophically, open sort of environment. My brother was sort of like a pantheist. I think my dad is sort of like a Catholic-style deist. So there was some, philosophical diversity. But the point is, I grew up in a Catholic environment. So, there's been some songs that I've encountered along the way from different artists. Alanis Morissette, pretty recently, where it feels like there's an exploration and an expression of the, again, cultural and religious environment that people grew up in, to speak more articulately. So I wonder whether this might be that. Now, obviously, this could be more just direct philosophical musings, not so much thinking about where you came from and what happened when you grew up, but more about just what you think metaphysically, if you will. So either way, I'm curious to hear what might be on offer here, and I will see what I can catch on a first listen. This is Tori Amos. The tune is God, and it's from her 1994 album, Under the Pink.
God, sometimes you just don't come through. God, sometimes you just don't come through. Do you need a woman to look after you? God, sometimes you just don't come through. You make pretty daisies, pretty daisies, down, down, down. sometimes you just don't come through, baby. You need a woman to look after you. God, sometimes you just don't come through.
That guitar work is
Well, tell me you're crazy, maybe then I'll understand. Come on, tell you got your 999 in the taxi, just in case. Oh, hey, you gon' south, well, baby, love your new phone. Hey, tell me what do you know? I said, fine, fine, fine. Why you always go when the wind blows? Will you even tell her if you decide to make the sky fall? Will you even tell her if you decide to make the sky? God, sometimes you just don't come through. God, sometimes you just don't come through. Do you need a woman to look after you? God, sometimes you just don't come through. Do you need a woman to look after you? God, sometimes you just don't come through.
I like that variant. It's like that guitar is almost like distorted, dissonant whale song. Sonically incredible. It had this smooth, almost like soul pop feel to it, but then it had this kind of bluesy edge, not only in that guitar, but just in some of the intense atmosphere in some moments. I mean, the main run is, what is it? God, sometimes you just don't come through. I don't know if it's you. I don't know if it's a direct address. Like, God, sometimes just don't come through, or God, sometimes you just don't come through. It feels like either way the meaning would be more or less running in the same direction. Do you need a woman looking after you? And at first I thought it was about like everybody else, might need a sort of motherly type of figure. But then I thought, if it is directly addressed, and it's like, does God need a woman, like a motherly type of figure to look after him and allow him to be the person he's supposed to be? On a more like philosophical level, it felt like maybe there's a suggestion here of, the problem of evil, the idea of like, well, if there is this omnipotent, omnibenevolent deity that, does know everything, omniscient, then, what are the, like, what is evil in the world? And you can define that in different ways, and well, some of it's human action, sure, but sometimes, natural disasters befall like very innocent people in very cruel and like unfortunate ways, and it's like, ultimately there are different answers to that, there are different philosophical explorations, but it felt like maybe the song was saying like, he's not doing everything that we would maybe think he's supposed to be doing, so if that's the case, does he need someone looking after him? Does he need someone to like, help take care of these things? So I don't know, it felt like maybe it was more like personally anecdotal, but then I thought maybe there was some actual like philosophical speculation inherent. Either way, as I always say when it comes to reacting to songs that are about like more serious or philosophical or indeed religious matters, I just try to navigate the themes of different music acts that I go through. And I I began saying things like this when I would go through punk rock reactions, because a lot of punk rock songs have like scathing cultural critiques and, you know, very adamant political opinions, and I would always just say, like, you know, I'm trying to go through and explain what I think the song is about, and, you know, in some cases give some personal context, but at the end of the day, you know, everyone is welcome on the channel, and I just try to understand music and lyrics as best I can. So again, you know, when I go to a song with a name like this, sometimes I worry that like it might be seen as you know, more controversial. But again, fair to say, like a lot of the artists I go through, they don't shy away from important, big, and indeed controversial issues in terms of like, you know, some artists have a lot of like gravity to some of their themes, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Although at the same time, there's nothing wrong with, you know, lighter, more like life-affirming kind of slice of life pop fare. So yeah, basically I'm here for all music, I'm here for all lyrics. I'll try to navigate everything as well as I can. Hopefully people are enjoying the journey. I do think a number of you have commented that you are. You should see, like, I know she's just below frame, but she's like sleeping on my left hand now for the last like several minutes, and at some point I'm gonna have to move it. Oh, she just stirred a little bit. Well, there you go. Perfect timing, Luca. We were just talking about you. So, in any case, let me know what you think of the tune. Shout out to Tori, an artist, it feels like, already after, you know, an album and a third, not even an album, and like a sixth or something like that. So once again, shout out to Nigel for making this larger deep dive a possibility and sharing much else as well. You are greatly appreciated, as are all the champions of the channel. From a very sleepy but now hilariously adorable Luca and I, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.